Welcome back to YouTube, everybody. My name, of course, is Seth. Thank you so much for being here. We are back. We are at full strength, well, so to speak. We have myself, Jacob, and Earl here tonight. Um, Thank you guys again so much for being here. We might keep this on a little bit on the short side tonight. I don't know yet. We do still have a lot to get through. Um, Now, I do have one little note. We were expecting to have Harry on the show tonight. If you follow Harry on Twitter, you know he's on vacation, and so talked to him earlier.
Not
And
not that Harry, guys. Not Harry Swartz.
no, not Harry
I
Schwartz.
made the same
no.
mistake. Not Harry Swartz. Harry
No.
from San Antonio.
Yeah, at Ramancall on Twitter. We were going to have him on the show tonight. He's on vacation, and he didn't trust his internet connection enough. So we are going to reschedule with Harry. We will have him on prior to the meeting between New Mexico United and San Antonio FC in July. So probably about the next month or so, we'll have something set up with Harry. And we look forward to having him on. We're a big fan of the stuff that he does. He's a big voice in the USL community on Twitter. And I'm looking forward to talking to him, getting to know San Antonio FC a little bit better. But guys, do we have? I know we've got a tweet out. Do we have Facebook and everything?
Oh no.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll get on that. You ask your patented question. Oh wait, we haven't started.
Yeah, we haven't even
pod
started
yet,
the show yet. No.
Yeah.
No.
I like how you're like, oh, we're gonna make this. We might make this a short one, and then we're 10 minutes in, haven't even started the podcast.
I did. That was 2 minutes. Thank you very much. 2 minute intro for the YouTube folks.
It starts at 9:30. It is 9:39, sir.
Yes, and where were you at 9:30?
I was on at 9:30. I told Earl, I don't know why you guys act like I'm late every time when I show up at before 9:30. You guys are still like, oh my gosh, he's so late.
See, this starts at 9:30, but Jacob shows up at like 9:45.
Again, that doesn't work because it is 9:40 and I've been here for 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
The thing is, because I've kind of mentioned it before in our chats. Like whenever we get on the Zencaster and we get going, you guys don't always join in the same order, so it messes with my cameras and my inputs on the Streamlabs.
It's
And so
almost always Earl and then me.
So I have to make adjustments. And then like you weren't here last week, so I had adjustments for that.
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
when we did the 4-person show
It
with
was
Andrew
the
a few
best
weeks
time of
ago.
our life.
Sounded like it. Sounded like you
we
guys
had a
great
good show
time.
last week, but yeah, when Andrew was
We
here,
started a book club.
yeah. So speaking of which, I that book has not popped up on my library list yet. I am still like
You're talking about Green Lights?
yeah, Green Lights. I am still about 18 weeks out on that one. But I have been, I don't know if you guys are familiar. I'm sure you're familiar with the Born Identity, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So I downloaded the audiobook, The Born Identity, the original Robert Ludlum book. It is vastly different from the movie. Like I didn't realize that. Now I know that in a lot of cases, they'll say inspired by or based on or whatever. And while the characters in the movie are based on the book, like the whole backstory is vastly different, at least to this point that I'm at. So if you have any interest at all in checking that out, it's a really weird, it's a completely different story from what I've gathered so far. So it's
Have you
strange.
guys ever read Jurassic Park? the
Yes.
book? Love that one.
Yeah, that's a fantastic book. Crichton's such a good
See,
writer.
joke's on you, because I can imitate the Jurassic Park noises in my mind, so we're good.
What the hell does that have to do with the book?
He
Makes it better.
Yeah, he does the sound effects for himself. That's what he does.
You scare me sometimes, Earl.
Oh man! All right, let's get into our show this week.
Are we
Welcome.
even live on YouTube?
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
We've been
Earl,
live
are
on
you kidding me? Are you serious right now?
We've been live on YouTube for 4.5 minutes now, Earl.
Oh, look, there we are.
You don't
Wait,
even listen
nope,
to the
that's bad.
conversations, do you? You don't even pay attention.
Mm-mm.
Oh man,
There we are.
you guys are fun. You guys are fun. All right, let's do this.
Join our book club.
Well, we can plug the book. We'll plug the book club later at the end of the show as well. So, all right. Welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff, and joining me tonight we have Earl Nieto and Jacob Terrell. Jacob is back this week. Glad to have him back. We've all kind of been dealing with some stuff here over the past week or so. And so it's good to have everyone back, and in person and talking. And for those of you just now joining us, or if you missed the intro on YouTube, we had planned on having Harry from San Antonio on the show this week. You may know him on Twitter at Ramancall. He is one of the voices, bigger voices on USL Twitter. He's on vacation, and we couldn't. He wasn't entirely positive of his internet connection, so we are going to reschedule with him until July and get him on ahead of the next matchup between San Antonio and New Mexico United. So if you're listening in, and we talked about it occasionally on the show, we do want to plug our written content over at somosmasnm.com. We do match previews, match recaps. And if you are interested, we are looking for writers. We're looking for photographers that can potentially help us out with game day coverage or doing other things. Jacob and Earl, of course, live out of town and can't always make it to every single match. So, case in point, tonight, this week's matching at San Antonio, none of us are going to be able to be there, unfortunately. And so, we'll still have coverage. I'll be live tweeting from the ESPN Radio 117 The Team account, and we'll have a preview up tomorrow morning. So we are still doing coverage of that. So be sure to check everything out. And if you're interested, email one of us, Seth, Earl, Jacob at somosmasnm.com, or reach out to us on our social media accounts, our personal ones, or the Somos Mas NM accounts, and let us know what you're interested in doing. Like I said, photographers, writers. If you are a social media person, I think that would be, if you're someone who is good with social media, we'd love to have that as well. So reach out to us, let us know, and we'll get in touch. So as we get into this week's show, just like we do each and every week, I was gonna ask Jacob what that character was on the snap bracelet there. Goofy. Okay, Goofy and Mickey. All right, I wasn't sure.
And Donald.
And Donald. Okay, can't forget Donald. The pantless wonder, apparently. So, burning question this week, guys.
What did you just call me?
A pantless wonder. There you go. Burning question, as we do each and every week, kind of piggybacking off of the discussion Earl and I had last week that he really didn't want to talk about. My question to you guys is, what is the future of combat sports, MMA or boxing?
I think it's WWE.
I like your answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I figured you would.
Oh, I mean, is boxing just dead? Like, is there any draw to boxing now, or is it more about the entertainment aspect of it? Jacob, you mentioned the WWE. I mean, that obviously, yes, it is an athletic event. I wouldn't necessarily call it a sport. Because
fighting words.
No. I don't think that's fighting words. I wouldn't call it a sport. Now it isn't.
Mute his mic. Mute his mic.
It is an athletic event. I will give it that. They are trained professionals at what they do.
It's a redneck soap opera, is what it is.
You sound jealous.
I watch it. I'm just saying. I don't watch it now. I used to watch it.
Don't you live in like redneck Haven out there in Fort Nowhere?
No, you have it all wrong. Rednecks require certain things, like Walmarts.
Yes.
So
and Waffle
Edgewood.
Houses.
Okay.
Edgewood.
There's not a Waffle House in Edgewood.
No, but there's a Walmart.
So there's a lot of people
And
of
a Denny's
Walmart over
in
there.
the same parking lot.
Bam.
Yeah.
Denny's
And
isn't
Earl.
as bad. I would classify Denny's as redneck.
So our Walmart is actually one of the biggest ones in the country.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. I swear.
I
I
would I
swear.
wouldn't have thought that, but okay. I mean,
Just
without doing
square
any,
footage wise, is that what we're talking?
Yeah, square footage wise,
Okay, all right.
it's one of the biggest ones in the country.
any particular reason for that, or
Rednecks like Walmart. A lot of rednecks in Edgewood.
Yeah, there's a lot of hicks out here.
I, I can't speak to the level of redneckery in Moriarty and Edgewood, but I know where I grew up, and there were quite a few rednecks down there. So I think we can.
You wanna know
we
how
can have a
redneck we
discussion
are
about
out
that.
here?
How redneck are they out there?
This is how redneck we are. Oh, it's already went away. But if you look closely, I got bit by something this morning, and it's still red.
His neck
That's
is
how
red.
redneck we are.
His neck is red. It was the worst attempt at a joke on this podcast. I'm not
Oh
saying a
my
lot because
word!
Earl's been on this podcast for a year now.
Oh,
Feels like.
that's terrible. Oh,
I'll
that's
just see
terrible.
myself out. There's my door right there. I'll just see myself out.
All right, Earl.
So it
Thanks for
looks like-
joining us. We'll see you next week.
It looks like it's just me now since Earl muted Seth's mic for talking crap about WWE, and then Earl walked out himself because he made the worst joke ever. So, I mean, really, the podcast would be pretty much the same thing, except for I wouldn't have Seth's questions. I would just have my own because it's usually me talking anyways. So
You'd be asking, answering them to yourself.
Yeah. I would probably do different voices. It'd probably be pretty entertaining, actually.
Okay. Yeah, we might let you do that one week.
And then I would hop in every once in a while with an Earl hot take. Stephen A. Earl over here, just throwing
All
out
right,
something.
you got 10 minutes on your own.
Oh no.
Speaking of Stephen A, Mr. Stephen A has got to start eating his words here in a little bit, thinking the Hawks were an embarrassment if they beat the Knicks, and now here they are, 2-2 in their series with the 76ers. I'd love to see Mr. Stephen A come on this show and apologize for that.
I'm not sure Earl knows what basketball is, so
Actually, I do know what basketball is. Just because I'm a Miami Heat fan doesn't mean nothing. I also know that Luka Doncic is better than LeBron James and Stephanie Curry.
Whoa.
So once again, I will say Earl doesn't know what basketball is, and Earl, I just
Holy hot takes.
that one's not as hot as the Baker Mayfield over Patrick Mahomes, but
I think it's the equivalent. I think it's the NBA equivalent of that.
I don't know because Mahomes is young, just like Mayfield. So there's a case to be made that at this current moment in time, Doncic is better than LeBron. I'm not saying it's the right case or that it's all there, but there's a small case that like if I tilt my head just right and squint my one good eye and open my other eye as wide as I can kind of see it. With the Mahomes Mayfield one, there's nothing there. There's just it's not, you can't justify it at all. So and I'm going to act like he didn't say Steph Curry in there, so I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
Oh, I didn't say Steph Curry. I said Stephanie Curry because I hate Steph Curry with the passion.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation, and it made me want to throw my computer. So I'm going to again ignore it and move on.
I don't see it. I don't. But I don't know. Maybe a couple years you can talk about that. But
look, I didn't say I could see it either. I just said like.
Well, yeah, you can't see because you have a bad eye.
Exactly. I was waiting for an eye joke. It's closer. Luka is closer to LeBron at this day and age than Mayfield is to Mahomes, or Mahomes. Mayfield is to Mahomes. That's why I rank it a step below that hot take. It's still a hot take. It's still stupid, but it's just not as stupid as Mayfield Mahomes.
Sorry, I'm trying to look at his stats here. and 21.2 points per game, 28.8, 27.7. Career 25.7 point per game guy. Obviously, his playoff stats are a little bit better than that, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know that you could compare Luka to Steph Curry or
He didn't say Steph Curry. Just Steph Curry was not part of this conversation because if he comes back up, I'm going to throw my computer and blame Earl.
okay. Okay, whatever. Let's move on from that. Yeah, I don't see
How
it.
in the world did we get like? Do we even answer your question about the UFC boxing, or did it? How did we end up here?
You
How,
said
what
WWE,
road-
then we got on a tangent.
What
so.
road did we take to end up at Earl saying Luca is better than Steph and LeBron? I don't.
We went from talking about WWE to Rednecks and Edgewood and the world's largest Walmart apparently to Steph Curry. So
Yeah, I don't. That's where the jump loses me there.
yeah, I don't
Like
know.
everything else that you said, I was like, oh, okay, that's a logical step. Oh, okay, logical step. Oh, okay, logical step. And now I'm like, what? How did we step into a wormhole? What are we doing here? See, that was to bring it back for Earl's sake. I said
Speaking
wormhole,
of worms,
talking about what we were
speaking of
talking about
worms,
earlier.
so I've actually made a decision. Judging off of our conversation today, I'm going to make a worm farm. And yes, Jacob, your bee farm is invited.
I don't know if bees and worms really help each other out there.
It'll be two different rooms, so like a closet. So like
Seth,
this.
Seth has left the building for some reason. I think the worm talk pushed him over the edge, and he is just done.
Or he's gonna go
out.
get his leftover worms to eat, like the boogeyman off of WWE.
He came back with nothing. What a disappointment. We were speculating on what you were going to do. We thought maybe you just walked out because the worm talk just finally broke you. You know, we had all this other stuff, but worm talk was the slap bracelet that broke the camel's back, and or we thought you were going to get worms, and you came back with nothing, and you came back. So
Yeah, no. I thought I might have a copy
Super
of
bummer.
How to Eat Fried Worms, but I don't.
Worms?
So yeah. No, I went to go blow my nose.
So yeah. So my plan is to make a worm farm, and it's gonna be right here in the back. Right, I'm gonna take this down. I'm gonna take this guy down, maybe this one, and that's gonna be my new background. Is a worm farm.
I would rather it be an ant farm, maybe even an alien
Look.
ant farm.
Look, I'm gonna start a worm farm, and I'm gonna call it "I Got Worms."
Earl's not old enough to get that joke, Jacob.
He's probably not. I just, oh wow, that hurts. That hurts because he definitely didn't get it.
No, I didn't get it. By the way,
He said an ant farm, maybe even an alien ant farm. No, nothing. He doesn't get it. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
we've hit the line that is the age gap between me and Earl.
There
And it
you
is
go.
alien ant farm.
So I'm sure we have someone in the
it's
chat
okay.
that's
I'll
familiar with
I'll
alien
erase that
farm.
line. Give me about 18 seconds.
That's all right. While Earl researches ancient history for him, we will go. We'll move on to our regular discussion. A lot going on this past weekend. It was, of course, Pride Night out at the lab, and at the end of the weekend, the Mountain Division standings are as follows: RGV sitting in first. They won their match over the weekend against Real Monarchs by a score of 1-0. They maintain the top spot at 16 points. El Paso Locomotive sits second after a 1-1 draw with Colorado Springs. New Mexico United, of course, drew with Austin Bold. They sit third on 11 points. And San Antonio FC also drew 1-1 with Las Vegas Lights, and they sit fourth on 10 points. And then Austin Bold, Colorado Springs, and Real Monarchs round out the remainder of the
You got to cut that. We don't have licensing to it.
Yeah, you're gonna get us banned, Earl.
Cut it. Cut it.
Oh yeah. Oops. Sorry, people.
Play it through your
I
headphones.
forgot copyright infringement's a real damn thing.
Yes, yes, it is. And my Twitch channel got strikes for it because even though yeah, okay, T- tangent. Thank you, Earl. So Twitch has been doing a whole bunch of DMCA takedowns. Now, my channel got notifications about DMCA because, or they were automatically muting portions of my VODs because of music within the games, a game that I own. So yeah,
Time out. Time
Yeah.
out. Time out. Time out. What's a VOD?
video on demand.
Oh. Okay, never mind. Keep going.
That's why I like having Earl here, because I didn't know either, but I wasn't going to ask. So
I,
having Earl here to
eyebrow
just-
raise. That's like either. So I'll look stupid. I don't care.
we know,
All right.
Earl.
Well, yeah,
We
it's
know.
yeah. All right. So where were we? Now that we've been fully distracted
Well,
by
so we were
Alien
talking
Ant Farm.
about the Mountain Division
yeah, the Mountain
and the
Division.
current standings and last week's results. And had I looked at this weekend before and said, you know what's going to happen? RGV is going to gain 2 more points on the field. I would have never thought that. RGV again comes up with a solid victory over a team that, albeit isn't very good, but did just come off a Wednesday victory right before that and looked solid for it against Sacramento. And you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe they found something. Michael Chang is back for them. Douglas Martinez was back for them. You know, they had some guys this week, and you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe they're going to make some run. Definitely would have liked them to beat or at least draw against RGV. At that time, I would have thought we would have picked up points. And no, RGV picks up 2 points on everybody, literally everybody, because they beat, well, 2 points, at least 2 points on everybody, I should say, because they gained 3 on Monarchs, and then Colorado Springs and El Paso drew, San Antonio drew, we drew, and then you have RGV, Real Monarchs, and there's another team, but I don't remember who it is. Oh, Austin, duh, Austin drew. So yeah, literally nobody else did anything other than draw, and now we're looking up even higher at RGV. So, you know, they got off to a good start. They won a couple matches in a row. You're thinking, oh, okay, good start. They'll eventually fall back to earth. Guys, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're like a legit contender to win this group. And because of the lead that they've already been staked to, I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah, I think RGV is legit at this point. They've been playing really well all season long, and there's just really been no let off to what they've been doing.
I will say we do not see them until September 22nd again. So maybe by then they'll have cooled off and we can take the last 3 matches from them, and that would help us. But at the moment, yeah, they look like the best team in this group, even though they did lose to El Paso. But it wasn't just like, I mean, they didn't get their butts kicked by El Paso. It was a close match, and El Paso just squeaked one out. So I think the 4 playoff teams might be set. Unfortunately, Colorado Springs, I thought could be up there, but I don't know, man. RGV looks like they're kind of running away with it up top at the moment, and you know El Paso and us and San Antonio are going to be there like the standings say they are now. So it's going to be an interesting season. Like, it was already going to be kind of hard to predict who that 4th team was, and nobody had RGV, and now they might win the damn thing. So I don't know. It's a crazy division. I will say that El Paso is undefeated, and I think has at least 1 match in hand. I don't have the standings up in front of me, but
Yeah,
they have
you're
1
right.
or 2. So they could catch RGV pretty easily. Hopefully they don't, but I would rather see RGV win than El Paso, even if that means we finish 3rd instead of 2nd. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's been an interesting first quarter of the season. We're not quite uh, fully 25% through the season. This will Wednesday night marks our eighth match, so that at a quarter of the way done. And yeah, a lot of interesting things going on. I mean, RGV's looked really good. El Paso still no losses on their record so far this year. Um, Colorado Springs, like you mentioned, they looked good, but they haven't had the results. And then Monarchs, yes, Michael Chang was back for the second match in a row this past weekend. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough. This is a really tough group. We knew it was going to be hard. I mean, um, we knew that the Pacific Division wasn't necessarily going to be hyper competitive. You could probably pick out the four teams. Now, I mean, Tacoma is a little bit surprising, the fact that they are above Sacramento right now. But, other than that, I mean, the entire Western Conference was pretty, you know, we thought it was going to be pretty well set. But RGV's just surprised everybody.
Yeah, and then my I don't know if you're ready to get into the match, but when we're talking about the Mountain Division, I'm looking at it. Austin has dropped so far for me, both in where I think they're going to finish and my respect for them, uh, because the way they played Saturday was just it was an embarrassment if you ask me. But it got them a point, so more power to them. But I thought it was atrocious. I thought it was not soccer. Um, it, it everybody complains about their team when they park the bus up 1-0 and how rare it works out. Well, apparently the trick is to park the bus after 20 minutes and have it be tied when you do that, and you'll get a result at least. So, who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, that was the second straight week that Austin had come out in a extremely defensive formation. I was talking to Ken Stickinger and a couple of the folks up in the box on Saturday night about it. And in their prior match, they came out in a 4-5-1 against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Gave up 75% possession. Ended up getting a 1-0 victory after scoring about a minute into the match. And so they came out and they obviously they had a 5-4-1 against us. And yeah, I guess you can argue that they tried to score early, but realistically, they sat back and they just conceded possession, like watching the entire match. And you look at it, and for 90% of the match, they had 10, 11 guys behind the ball, primarily 10, not counting the striker. And so anytime you have a team playing that defensively, it's going to make it hard. I made a comment in one of my post match, and you watch the Austin Bold defenders, and at one point they were so compact. You basically had four people in an area no wider than the face of the goal. And then they had that fifth person. It's like they all just shifted over, put four in front of the goal, and then they had their right or left back you go farther out to defend those areas. But outside of that, it was just a ridiculous setup, and it's not something you see every day.
Yeah, and United struggled with it. I mean, we really only had. I mean, there were a couple of moments where you're like, oh, 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 and then nothing would come out of it. But really, Ryden's header wide off of a corner kick, and that's about it. I don't think we registered a shot on goal.
Nope, first time
We
in history.
we could get. I saw a couple things that I liked. It's just the finishing just wasn't there. Like we would get to the touchline and put the ball back towards the spot, and 6 Austin jerseys would be there, and 2 United kits, and the United players just couldn't get any body part uh, on the ball whatsoever, and it was crazy. I think what we the only thing that I saw that we could have done was maybe pepper in some outside shots, that hopefully find their way through, and maybe just get them to draw out just a little bit, because man, they were so backed up there that it seemed like no matter what we did, and I feel like we did put a couple, we took a couple long shots, but none of them were on target or anywhere near where they should have been. So, uh, we got Austin two more times. Granted, they're both in Austin now. I don't, I don't think they would play that kind of soccer in Austin, but I'm not sure. So, like, unless they had a lead, I don't think they would play for a draw like that though in Austin. But if they do, we're gonna have to find a way to beat it. And I trust Troy and the coaching staff and the players there to come up with a way that will combat that parking the bus type strategy there.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. I mean, it was impressive to see United how well they controlled the ball, even with Austin just sitting back and conceding possession. Because you could, if you watched Austin, they weren't even pressing. Even in up until we got into their final third for much of the match. I mean, they were sitting back, letting us pass the ball around. Then once we hit that around that 18, 20-yard area, then they started to engage. And there's the header there. I think that was Kalen's header, yeah, that just went wide. But yeah, it was just astounding to me that they have played so defensively these past two matches. Now, I know that Austin has struggled to score. I mean, they've got three of their attacking goals have been scored by defenders. Only one has come from a midfielder or a forward. And so from that aspect, I can kind of understand, try to play on the counter, give up possession, play the counter, and try to break out that way. But other than that, like it's just a ridiculous way to play. And I know you say, it's not soccer, but I mean, unfortunately, it is. Like that's just the way these guys are playing right now. And I was talking to some of the guys in the box that said it seems like Austin has figured something out. And they figured out a way to play with the guys that they have, and they've gotten results from it.
But are those, like, to me it's not sustainable. Like to play the exact same way that they did the last two matches for the rest of the season, your defense just can't hold up doing that. Like you're going to give up goals, and then if you get down, like to me it feels like if they got down at all against us or in their previous match, if they would have given up a goal in either one of those, I don't like I don't know if they would have known what to do, because they just can't attack whatsoever. So eventually it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. And I don't, you can play that way and give up 75% of the possession for two matches in a row and luck into some results. But I don't think you can do it for 10 matches in a row and expect to get results every time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. I mean, so in terms of it being sustainable, like, can you play that way? Yes, like because you're not necessarily going to put a lot of miles. You're not going to expend a lot of energy doing that. You're just going to sit back, concede, and then again try to play on the break. And yeah, like in terms of efficiency, I think that's more where the issue is. Will it be efficient enough throughout the rest of the season? And that I just don't know. You mentioned shots outside the box. Let me make sure I've got this correct here. I'm gonna take off the Austin stuff here.
See, and I kind of disagree that you're not exerting a lot of energy. Like you're not running, you're not putting the miles on your legs, but defending is not easy. Like it's a lot easier to just kind of kick the ball around in possession, and even if you're like, if you ask me which team was more tired at the end of the match on Sunday or Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Austin. because we ran around a little bit, but and part of the problem was we didn't run around enough. Like you didn't see the guys running off the ball or making runs for whoever had the ball to distribute to, but we were going back and forth a little bit, and Austin was having to do the same thing. And when Austin breaks out a few times, that's the whole length of the pitch that they're having to run to even try to get a shot on goal. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I feel like defending is just more exertion than having the ball.
Yeah, I see your point. Earl, did you have a chance to go back and watch the match, or have you not had a chance to yet?
Bits and pieces. I haven't had a chance to watch the full match. So Saturday I had the match on, but with all the family stuff going on, it was like in and out. We were having dinner, so I didn't really have a chance to sit and watch it. And just the rest of the weekend's just been a mess. So I've seen bits and pieces of it. That's kind of why I've sat back quietly, because I don't really have a full comprehension of what happened. So I'll have to go back and watch it for sure.
Have you ever driven by a school right about the time it's time to get out, and you just see 17 buses waiting to pick up the students?
Yeah.
If Earl has
Yes.
if you've seen that, Earl, then you've seen the game, because that's what it was a class act
I,
in just being compact at the back and not letting anything happen through you. I like watching the highlight package over and over again is torturous right now, because it's like Omar Gordon had one good chance for Austin, and then a lot of it is us just kind of passing the ball back and forth, throwing a ball into the box, and then somebody from Austin being there. Like the play that they just on watching it live, I'm a little bit behind what Seth sees, but they just showed a cross from Brucey come into the box, and it's literally the keeper and 8 or 9 Austin players inside the penalty area, and then like 5 United players that aren't really close but are kind of there, sort of. I don't know. And so yeah, it was sad.
Yeah, it's hard to watch when there's nothing, nothing really going on. I mean, it was interesting from a tactical standpoint what was going on, but from like an actual like media coverage, like it's okay. What do we write about? Nothing happened. Like, at least give us something. Give us a yellow card. Give us a red card. Something. Give us something noteworthy to write about. And it's just it's tough to. I mean, it was interesting football to watch, but it's a terrible match to try to report on.
It was
And
it was interesting to me just because I'd never seen somebody do that in not only in United matches, but I don't think I've seen people park the bus. I mean, I'm a Tottenham fan. We're the kings of parking the bus when we go up 1-0. Um, but to see somebody just do it for literally 3/4 of the match with the score tied, not even ahead, but just a tied, and just 0-0. Like I've never seen that in my life, and it was interesting in that aspect, but super annoying in every other aspect.
yeah, yeah, it was just again, it was just a difficult match to watch. And you mentioned shots from outside the box earlier. I did pull up USL Championship website, and we did have 5 shots from outside the box. Now, none of them were particularly great. There was one shot by Harry that was blocked from just left of the center. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to be that compact, I mean, yeah, I think you do have to look at it uh, from the perspective of, okay, what else can we do? And Jacob, I think it was you that mentioned in our group chat on Saturday about Schmitty playing so high up, and you were kind of wondering what was going on. And Troy actually talked to that after the game, and he said, we had Schmitty and Suggsy playing so high up, and because we were trying to do different runs and give different looks and try to find a way in, and it's yeah. When someone's playing that defensive, they're playing that compact, you have to try to do different things to to open it up. And you saw our passing, passing around, you're trying to work the wide areas, pull those guys out. And but again, every time they did it, they'd have they Austin kept four guys in front of the goal, and then they'd have that wide back, the right left back push out to defend that wide area, and that was it. The other guys stayed within that 18-yard box, a 6-yard box, to just shut down that area, and Austin was successful at that.
Yeah, they were too successful at it. But yeah, I mean, I mentioned it just because I kept looking. Every time I looked up, it was like, okay, Justin is basically turned into Suggs right here, and it was strange to me. I because see, this is where I don't. Me and soccer are still newlyweds, you might say, and so and I'd have to go back and look and see where Suggsy was necessarily when Schmidt came up that high, because they were playing on the same side. And actually, it wasn't Suggs to begin with, but um, every time I looked up, Schmidt was constantly passing the ball back to Juan Pablo Guzman, and I was like, how's this happening? How is Guzman playing behind Schmidt half the time? Um, and we still couldn't get anything going. So part of me thinks maybe we sent too much forward, and because to me the answer when there's 9 defensive players in the box, the answer might not be to have 9 offensive players in the box, because then it's just there's too many bodies. Like there's nothing good is going to come of that. But I don't know. It was an interesting match. It is one that I would. It sucks because I want to rewatch it, but at the same time, I have no desire to rewatch it whatsoever because it was such a frustrating match. But I want to rewatch it if I'm looking at it through different eyes, through some tactical lenses that I have questions about.
Yeah, I'm trying to mess around with some of the different tools on the USL Championships website. So, I don't know if you've ever messed with it, but you can look at average positions. And so you look at their average position, and yeah, you talk about it. Cello was basically, middle of the park the entire match. Sergio and Ilya were basically, mid center. Harry was like a center forward, basically. It's funny to watch. And Justin's average position was the halfway line. And so, I think I'll look at Justin's heat map. I'm gonna look at Justin's heat map while we're talking about this.
And see, that's what I don't like about the heat maps is that it seems like I can predict what that's going to be based on the starting formation.
Yeah.
Like the eye test of me looking up and seeing Justin up pushing forward, that's not going to show on a heat map unless you like really know what you're looking for on a heat map. So I see you've stopped fiddling. So what does it say?
So yeah, looking at the heat map, I mean, Justin definitely spent a lot of time, in the attacking half of the match, or of the pitch. Sometime closer towards, like, just left the center of the box. And so yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of time going forward in this match, which we all know that's not typical for Justin. But like Troy said, like, he was trying to do different things, trying to get different looks, trying to get different runs to get Austin to pull out of their formation and create space. And I actually saw, you guys know I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I saw someone make mention that Austin's playing a 4-4-2. I'm like, oh, I didn't say that. I'm like, no, Austin did not play a 4-4-2. Like, if you watch the play on the pitch, I mean, Austin was constantly 5 at the back. It didn't matter where they were at on the pitch. Like I said, if the ball was off to the right, they had, again, the one person playing out wide, 4 in the middle. Ball was out left, one person out wide, 4 in the middle. It wasn't a 4-4-2. This was very clearly a 5-4-1. And yeah, it's, they were set up, from the beginning to play as defensively as possible. And we've got to figure out a way to break that down.
Yeah, it was tough to see, tough to watch. I saw that same. I think I saw the same one that you're talking about, and I was like, don't think it was a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
But and basically what they did for the first 70 minutes basically was a 9-1. Like
Yeah.
they had 9 people behind the ball in some way, shape, or form, and then they had one center forward sitting at the midfield line basically, and that was it.
Yeah, not going to argue with that. I mean, that's absolutely what it was. I mean, yes, they had Diouf and Okoli both listed as forwards for this match, but they didn't play like it. They really didn't.
No.
And it's hard to really justify saying anything to the contrary. And so yeah, I mean, it's just Troy said there were a lot of positives to take away, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, we looked good possession, and when we had possession, we didn't give the ball. We didn't like give the ball up and then get it back. It was sustained, controlled possession,
Yeah.
and putting ourselves in position to try to score. And it's honestly it's a bit unfortunate that we didn't get a goal. I mean, I think if Kalen's header had been on target, it would have been in. So
So
go ahead.
I have a big picture question for both of you guys. So we've played 3 home matches since COVID. We are 1-1-1 with a 1-0 loss to Loudon. This obvious draw.
I'm not counting the Loudon match.
That's I was because I kind of feel the same way, but at the same time, you look at the record and kind of how we've struggled to score, even if you count a couple goals at Loudon. It's a little. Is it worrisome? Are you worried about our home form this early, or is it too early? And we had some. Cause, I mean, if you look at it, Austin, this match was a weird outlier because they decided to park 5 buses in front of goal and call it a day. And then the Loudon match, well, we all know what happened during the Loudon match. So because of that, you guys seem not to be worried at all. Because I might be a little concerned, but I want to hear from you guys first. Talk me off the ledge.
So no, so I'm not worried. Yeah, so I'm not worried at all because this seems to be a tactic that each club is using. So Loudon used it, and they decided to literally just camp out at the end of the game, which pissed me off a little bit, or more than a little bit. But so I'm not worried about it because it seems to be a tactic to try to keep the crowd out of it. They know what noise Isopes Park can make, and God, I cannot wait till July 1st or that first home game after July 1st, which would be
The 9th.
Friday, July 7th.
That says 9th. That's 9th, Earl.
Yeah, or July 9th. Sorry, July 9th. Sorry, I read it backwards. I'm a little dyslexic. Because supposedly that's when we're reopening. That's the 2 weeks after the full capacity, whatever, blah blah blah, the full vaccination 60%, whatever the heck the requirements are nowadays. That'd be the first match at full capacity, state fully reopened. So I want to see how that coincides with that first home match and I'm counting that as our first home match because that's a first full stadium match. So I think that's kind of what Austin did here was take the crowd out of it and let it be whatever is on the field.
I'm not convinced that Austin did take the crowd out of it. I mean, that 90, 92, 88 that was in attendance was loud on Saturday night, and it was fun to hear. That of course was the first official sellout of the season for the club, and yeah, I don't. They were in it the entire 90 minutes. Austin didn't take them out. You know, the fans were there, and it was fantastic to see and hear. And you know, there was a new guy up in the box from the Daily Low. It was his first time ever attending a soccer match, first time covering United. And you know, we were talking about. I said, yeah, just wait till we open up the windows here in the box. Open it up, and you know, as hearing the crowd, you know, there right before kickoff, it was a lot of fun. And but you know, Earl, you mentioned, you know, that first match there in July. Um, I have heard whispers that the third home match from now, so not San Antonio. Um,
The Monday night against Charleston.
I think so. I think that's the one. So, yeah, not San Antonio, not the one after that, but the third one.
That would be Charleston.
Okay, I have heard rumors that may be the first official one opened, or that may be sold at full capacity. So, um,
So here's my hot take. I don't think that matters. Look at 2019. Now we are a much better club than in 2019, I would even say. But playing at home, we were 6-4-8. So 6 wins, 4 losses, 8 draws. Let me double check. Sorry, 6-3-8. My bad. So 6 wins, 3 losses, 8 draws. Of those 8 draws, I did not look into it, but I can almost guarantee we had the lead in at least 6 of them and conceded late.
yeah,
We and I will also say that while we are a better team, a better club than we were that first year, I think our offense isn't as good. At least not as currently constructed. We don't have Santi and Kavan, who apparently, much to my chagrin, have been harder to replace than I thought they would be, um, as far as production wise. And so, you know, I'm not sure that, like, I look at how we've played in New Mexico for these 3 seasons, and it doesn't scream home field advantage to me. They always talk about drawing energy from the fans and how they love the fans and they love playing in front of the fans, but I have not seen that energy and love turn into results. And that, while it's still early in the 3rd year, has me slightly concerned. And I would need to see, like, I need to see a good outing tomorrow. Like, if we see a flat outing tomorrow, followed by 3 weeks on the road, and then they come back on the 9th and look flat again, then that's going to be a huge red flag for me. Because I've always thought that if we could be great at home with these fans and have like an outstanding home field advantage, then we would play good enough on the road to walk away with this division and be a really, really, really big threat to win the title. And I'm not there right now, but I am, like, it's not a red light flashing for me, but it's definitely a yellow light, if that makes sense. Like, it's still, like, it's something that I have my eye on, and hopefully it doesn't turn into anything there. And see what I did there? I said eye, not eyes, because I only have one good eye. There you go.
Yep.
That was for you, Earl.
So before I answer your question, I do want to remind everyone here in YouTube with us, guys, if you're here, if you're watching, feel free to jump in, throw your questions and comments in the chat. We'll get those read on air. You'll get our feedback to what you guys have to say, and we'd love to have your participation in the show as well. Going back to your question, Jacob. So in 2019, I think you are correct. Again, without pulling it up, I would say that we surrendered a lot of leads late, and I think that came down to just the level of play on the pitch. I don't think it had anything to do with home field or anything like that, or having the size crowds that we did. And I definitely think that having the larger crowds, having any fans in attendance is going to be big, no matter what the club, or I'm sorry, where the club is playing. Now, in terms of this year, I'm throwing out the Loudon match, number one. I mean, you had a red card in the 24th minute. You had a very clear handball that was not called. You had us playing this hyper attacking football for 45 minutes. Now, if that match had been called accurately, if it had been refereed appropriately, that's a completely different outcome. So I'm throwing Loudon out. It's hard enough to score when you have 10 men, but to come from behind and score multiple goals, that makes it even harder. As far as the Austin match, for the first one we put 3 on. And then here in this one, they went hyper defensive. Again, they sat 10 guys behind the ball for 90% of the match. And were more than willing to concede possession for the entire thing. And so, that's a completely different thing as well. So honestly, I'm looking at it as 1-0-1 and a anomaly. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about our home form. We have played well in all 3 matches. Now the first 20 minutes of the Loudon match were fairly flat, and we didn't necessarily do a lot there, but we did show a different level of intensity later on, and we showed really well in the second Austin match. We talked about the possession. We talked about controlling the ball. We talked about trying to get good looks, and it just didn't fall. It just didn't fall for a Saturday night. So I'm not concerned about the home form right now.
So I'm not. If you just look at these 3 matches, I'm with you. We destroyed Austin the first match. We destroyed Loudon, just didn't get a result because factors outside of our control. But that second half, watching Suggs come right at me and Earl and Sombrero Man was scary. And I thought that half of football might have been our best half of the year. We just didn't score. And then we talked about the Austin one and how they came out and kind of threw something strange at us by letting us have the ball for the overwhelming majority of the match and whatnot. I look at it as a whole. If you look at our whole existence in New Mexico, and I feel like if you have on average 12,000 fans that first year, and then on average almost 9,000 fans this year, when you have to be at 75%, that is like a 7, 4, and 9 overall record at home in 2 years of playing here isn't good enough. And if you also look at who we've played, I understand that if you look at Austin and you look at Loudon, those last 2 matches, there's something wrong. Loudon is a bottom tier team in this league. And I understand that we had the deck stacked against us. We still needed to get a result there somehow, and we didn't. Austin parking the bus on us for 90% of the match, I understand that. When you are feeding off the energy of 9,000 fans and you're playing at home and you want to be a top tier team, you have to find a way to beat that. And so right now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Now that can all change if we come out and whoop San Antonio tomorrow and then come back in July and take care of business in July. But as it stands right now, even given the fact that we had some weird things go our way the last 2 matches, I'm like on a 1 being no problem at all. to a 10 being, oh my gosh, burn the place down. I'm like a 4, 5, somewhere in there. Like, not freaking out, but definitely pause for concern.
I mean, Earl, do you, Earl, using Jacob's scale, where would you be?
I'm about a 2 or 3. I mean, I don't see the worry. I mean, we had two teams come out and outgame us in a mental game, is what it was. And that's essentially what it was. They outmentaled us in front of our fans. With that being said, it's a good start. A good start. It's a good time to start learning how to manipulate that game. But using Jacob's crazy scale, I'm about a 2, maybe a 3.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be that high. You know, I maybe a 2. Like, you know,
See, and I coming into this year, it was I want to win a championship. I think we're good enough to win a championship. And refereeing and other team strategy be damned, Phoenix isn't coming out and doing that against those three teams in their first 3 home matches this year. San Antonio is probably not doing that. El Paso is definitely not doing that. Tampa Bay is not doing that. Louisville's not doing that. Like, if we want to be where I think we should be, you got to get results in those 3 matches. And you've got to beat the likes of Loudon, even with a shitty referee. I'm sorry. Like, excuses can
So
only
here's
get you
how
so
I look
far.
at that. Here's how I look at that is we still are a championship team. If you look up and down the roster, we still are a championship team.
So yeah,
We've had the dice rolled a couple wrong ways.
the roster is a championship
Go ahead.
roster, but as a team, we are not performing like a championship team. That 1-0 win against the Monarchs is not something to write home about. Really, we have the 3-1 win against Austin, and then a solid-ish 1-1 draw against El Paso. And then what else are we looking at that really screams, hey, we are here to, we're a force to be reckoned with? Because I'm not seeing it. Maybe the 3-1 win against Colorado, because I do think Colorado is better than what their record shows. But you have a 2-week stretch there where we get back-to-back 3-1 wins. And since then, it's been a 1-0 loss, a 1-0 win on the road, which is nice, and then the 0-0 loss. So I think if you look at our roster, yes, we are a championship caliber roster, but we are not playing like it at the moment. And that is concerning to me just a little bit, especially at home.
See, and once again, I'm not worried. I mean, tomorrow night will be. Sorry, my internet was glitching in my mind. Tomorrow night will be a quarter way through the season. We haven't even started gelling, as sports fanatics say. We haven't even learned who can cross or who can do what on the field. And we're yet to see any kind of decent minutes out of Illich, minus this past week. So I not worried one bit because it's still a long freaking season. I mean, looking at the calendar, I mean, we're not even a quarter way down that list. So there's some really decent games coming up, which I look forward to. And there's some ones I don't look forward to, like in August. But that's when life happens.
I mean, I get it. I'm always the one here preaching optimism, and I'm not saying we're not going to win the championship. I just something in the back of my mind is not sitting right. And like I said, I'm putting it a 4 or a 5, not a 9 or a 10. I'm not freaking out. I'm just saying, hey, something to keep an eye on. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If we come out and lay a goose egg tomorrow, then both y'all should be right there with me at a 5, at least.
See, and I don't even count that because tomorrow you're coming off of a very short week, where you controlled the ball the match before for 75% of the game. You're coming off a really close week of Saturday to Wednesday. Especially with the heat that's been here lately, it's not going to be comfortable.
I'll give you the heat part there, but look at the back half of our schedule. There are a lot of, in fact, if you look at just the last 3 of the last 4 games, the 17th of October, the 20th of October, the 23rd of October, that's 3 games in 6 days. That's like, we have to get used to that. And that's going to be something that we can't use as an excuse throughout the season, because that happens throughout the season. So, no, if we come out and look like crap against San Antonio at home, even if it is a short week, I'm going to be nervous because we play San Antonio on a short week the next time we play them too.
Well, they're on a short week this week too.
Time,
so, you
yeah,
know,
it's not an excuse in my head. So
I don't know. I don't see being that worried at this point. You know, if we get to the 16 match mark, we make it halfway through the season. If we're still having questions at that point, maybe then you start to worry a little bit. But to this point, we've played, for the most part, we've played well in every single match. I mean, you can point to specific moments or specific periods of times in different matches to say, hey, we didn't play well, or we didn't handle this part of the match well, or, you know, the flow of the match just kind of got away from us a little bit. But realistically, we're not playing terribly. We're not. And
right. I'm not saying that we're not playing terribly. I feel like if we want to be mentioned amongst the better teams in this league, you have to get a result against Loudon, no matter if Chris Ruska is trying to screw you over. You just have to. And we should have. We played better. I understand that. And sometimes the breaks just don't go your way. But if I'm looking at the top tier teams in this league, and before the season, we all thought we were going to be up there, we're not up there. And I don't think you see that stretch of play from anybody else that is considered a top tier team in this league. So maybe I'm still thinking we're a top tier league, and that's why I'm worried. Like I still don't think we're going to miss the playoffs. Like I think we're a shoe in to make the playoffs, because I think we'll play good enough to get there. But we have a lot of gelling to do, or we have a lot of something to do, because I feel like the team is gelled well. It's just not getting the results, and sometimes it's just a results based league. Like you gotta do something with your chances, and we have not so far.
well, let me ask you this. So look at Los Dos. They played one more match than us. They're 3-3-2. They have a loss to Sacramento, who is, you know, sitting 4 points below them in the table. They have a draw with Tacoma, who is sitting 4 points below them in the table. They have a draw with SKC. Let me see where SKC is sitting. SKC is sitting outside of the playoff spots right now. You know, yes, they beat Las Vegas Lights 5-0. You know, they beat Salt Lake 2-0. I mean, Vegas is bottom of the barrel. Salt Lake is bottom of the barrel. They lost to Oakland, who's sitting, you know, 7 points below them in the table. You know, they beat Orange County 4-3, and then they lost to San Diego, who are, you know, they're currently in a playoff spot. Now, are you saying, and we're sitting on, let me make sure we're sitting on the same number of points as Los Dos. Mm-hmm. Would you be more worried about us or Los Dos, looking at the results that have been
us
had?
Because I don't think Los Dos was a championship team coming in. You got to look at expectations and look at our roster versus their roster. Our roster is better. We should be performing better than Los Dos. Like I don't know what your argument is bringing up Los Dos.
I'm pointing out there's a club with a similar similar record,
Mhm.
who have had similar, poor showings.
Mhm.
You want to point out a couple. You want to point out, the Austin match. You want to point out the Loudon match, and you've got Los Dos who are failing to have results against significantly worse clubs, and they've done it more often, more frequently than we have. But you're worried about us over a club like Los Dos.
Yeah, because I don't think Los Dos was a championship contender to begin with. It's not it it's not that I thought we've played poorly. It's not that I don't think we're going to be there at the end of the season. It's that coming into this season with home matches for the first time since 2020 or 2019, I mean, I thought we would one dominate at home, and two, I thought we would have more points than we do looking at the schedule. I remember talking to you after the Colorado Springs match, actually after the Austin match, the first Austin match, saying I thought we could be going into the San Antonio match tomorrow on a 5-game win streak. And we are 3-1-1 in those 5 games that I thought we could have a 5-game win streak.
And
And I
that's not a
understand.
terrible record.
No, and I understand that. But had you told me before that we were going to lose to Loudon at home and draw at Austin or here against Austin at home after beating Austin 3-1, I'd have said you're crazy. And I'd have said that's not acceptable. So if you go back in time
So
and
so
go ahead, Earl.
good.
So if you go
So
back,
to kind of imitate Seth's point, if you look at the standings, Lou City is sitting at 10 points in third place at this point. So should they be panicking?
probably a little bit, yeah. If you were
I
if
don't
you were to
understand.
if
I
you
don't
were to go back
understand you.
if you were to go back after the first Austin match, after we won 3-1, and said, okay, here's your next 4 opponents: Colorado Springs, Loudon, Real Monarchs, Austin Bold. If I'd have told you we were going to lose to Loudon at home 1-0, draw Austin 0-0, beat Real Monarchs, and beat Colorado Springs, would you have been happy with that?
Wait, I wasn't paying attention.
Draw with
What?
Austin's fine. Lost to Loudon,
At
but
home, though?
yeah. Austin is not a
Yeah, why
bad
not?
team. Like, Austin is not a bad team. And we've always played them tough. They've always played us tough. And that's a competitive series. So a 0-0 draw, like, not ideal, but I would take that over a loss. I will gladly take the result that we had. A loss to Loudon, highly unexpected. Not happy with that, obviously, but it. I think we've had 3 home matches this season. We're not a quarter of the way through the season yet. I think this is I think this is an overreaction.
I'm not overreacting. I'm not. I'm at a 4 or a 5. You guys are just underreacting. Is what's going
No,
on.
I
I'm telling you right now because I mentioned it on the pod after that Colorado Springs match. Loudon, Real Monarchs, Austin. If at that point over those 3 matches I say we get 4 points, you guys would not have been happy. So I understand that there were things that we could not control in the Loudon match. But if you just look at results, I don't know how you're not unhappy about that. And then if you put it into a bigger picture with how we've performed at home throughout our existence, it has to be at least a yellow light. Maybe it's a dim yellow light, but it has
Is
to
that
be
why
something
you're wearing yellow today?
No, because honestly, this tangent is completely out of nowhere. I was not thinking this before we got on this podcast, but I got to thinking about it, and now I'm stuck on it apparently because I, I, I don't know.
You can be
I feel like
unhappy with the results.
we should have been better. We should be better.
You can be unhappy with results. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But honestly, like I'm not I mean, yes, it's a little disappointing to not, be on a 5-match win streak at this point. We all thought that it was possible, but that's not the way it is. That's not the way sport goes. Like, shit happens in sports. Like, you can't. No, we can't plan on the Loudon match. We can't, predict that Austin's gonna sit, 10 people behind the ball for, 90+ minutes. Like,
We should have still scored though. We have the talent that we should have still found the back of the net. Because guess what? If other teams saw that and said, "Hey, we're a little worried about going to New Mexico for whatever reason," you know what we're going to do? We're going to park the bus and we're going to see if they can score on that. We're trying to hit them with a counter. And guess what? Austin probably should have had a goal. Omar Gordon was 1-on-1 with Tambakis and had a chance to beat him and put it wide. If that's a solid striker, if that's Brian Brown, that's going in the back of the net and we're effed. So if we get punched
Are
once,
you saying you don't have faith in Tumbakis to make that save?
if you watch the play, Tambakis left the far side open and Omar just missed it.
I'm just stirring the pot.
You're a dumbass, Earl.
let's say Tabakis made the right play though. He came out, he shortened the angle, and honestly, that was the harder of the shots. That was in terms of the actual physicality and the physical play necessary to make that shot. Like, that was the harder angle for Gordon to try to shoot at, and Gordon's not a Gordon's a defender. Like,
No, he's not.
yes, he is. I think he is.
He is an
I'll look
attacking midfielder for sure.
Whatever he is.
Because I have watched him play for 2 years now.
He's not good enough to do that.
Right. That's
He's
what I'm
not.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Is if somebody else is in that position, if somebody else parks the bus and then counterattacks, and somebody else other than Omar Gordon has a chance, they are more than likely going to finish that 1-on-1 against a keeper. If it's anybody of a good caliber. And then we're looking at it as down 1-0 and they're parking the bus and we can't find a way through. And then that's a loss instead of a draw.
Yeah.
So you're both wrong, by the way. He's also a forward.
Okay. Well, whatever
Attacking
he
midfielder,
is,
forward, same thing.
whatever he is, he's not good enough. Tambakis made the right play. So, and yeah, I just think it's an overreaction at this point. So,
All I'm saying is look out for it. Our home performance throughout our career, there's something there. There's something to look for there. And if we don't turn around at home, like, maybe my expectations are just up here and y'all's aren't. I don't know. I feel like we are a championship caliber team that isn't performing like it. And I feel like even the first year, when you're looking at our home record, 7-4-9 is not acceptable. Especially when you had leads in a lot of those that first year and couldn't hold them.
well, our defense was also nowhere near as good in that first season.
I will agree. So if we can hold leads, great. Now we're having a problem getting leads, apparently. So all I'm saying is watch out for it. Watch out for it. That's all I'm
Long
saying.
season, 25 more matches left to go.
Just saying.
And one of them is coming up tomorrow night, less than 24 hours from now. We've talked about it a little bit. The Mexico United taking on San Antonio FC.
4-0 win. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Getting it right out of the way, huh?
Wait, did you say 25 more games?
Yeah, 25 more.
And Jacob's over here flipping his cup already.
No, I'm not. You guys are making me sound like I'm wanting to burn the place down and quit watching United games.
Hashtag Troy out.
I'm just saying that there is a small history of us not performing as well at home as we think we should. That's all I'm saying.
So, ladies and gentlemen listening, this is just Jacob's take. Me and Seth are completely sane and understand life. Jacob is also wearing a yellow shirt, so he is batshit crazy right now.
It's a United shirt. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I didn't see that part. It was hidden behind the microphone.
Right.
But Jacob is batshit crazy.
I think if you ask a lot of the diehard or at least more than casual fans, or if you were to go to the casual fan and be like, hey, what do you think United's record is at home? They would not guess it's as bad as it is. And that is concerning to me. That's all I'm saying. And it's not even like, oh my God, fire everybody, get a new team in here. There's just something there. Like there's something that these guys aren't used to playing in front of that many people. And sometimes I think it shows. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes I think they get over antsy.
Jacob started the hashtag Troy Out movement.
You guys are making me really frustrated right now because I am one of the most level-headed fans of every sport you will ever see, and your guys making me feel crazy, even though I shouldn't feel crazy.
All right, so back to San Antonio this week. San Antonio, of course, comes in. They are sitting fourth within our division, and this is the first time that we have seen San Antonio since the playoffs last season, in which we get our first ever playoff win over them, a 1-0 victory, of course. And as we all know, everyone on the San Antonio side complained and said that Bees had a handball. But we all know that that is not true, and that New Mexico was the better team on that night. And so San Antonio comes in. I watched a little bit of their last match, and they've got some big boys on that team. I tried to go look at their roster on their club website, and they don't have like personal information like ours does. They got some big guys out there. I watched them play. I think it was Las Vegas, and it's going to be interesting to see, especially guys like Bruce or Mondo go up against some of these defenders and try to work their way through them against these 6-foot something guys that are out there on the pitch. And they're a big physical squad. They can score goals. Now they are going to be without their leading scorer, Santiago Patino, who was given a red card during their recent match against Colorado Springs for going to the face and neck area of a couple different gentlemen on the Colorado Springs side. I believe he still has at least 1 or 2 more matches after this one that he still has to serve as part of his suspension. He has 5 of their 11 goals this season, so they will likely be turning to guys like Justin Dillon or Nathan, their loanee out of Brazil. What have you guys seen? Have you had a chance to watch anything from San Antonio so far this year? And who do you think we should be watching for?
Yeah, there's one person you need to watch out for. I don't care about the Patino guy, whatever his name is, Tucker Bone. And I am a United diehard fan, don't get me wrong, but Tucker Bone will score on us Wednesday night.
Okay, I don't know enough about this guy. Let's go look him up.
Tucker Bone is the equivalent of Daniel Bruce. He's like a super sub. He's starting caliber. Really freaking good. High strung, high energy. And somehow always finds the back of the net.
Let's take a look here.
Where did you find this name? Because I'm not seeing his name on any of their rosters.
He signed with them in January of this year. He has apparently 1 goal.
Oh, you know what?
Appearance.
Wait. I messed up. Sorry, I'm looking at Sacramento, not San Antonio. My bad.
Hey, what are you doing?
Forget I was talking. I'm just getting ahead of the game.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Earl. Thanks for that hot take there.
Now that can we just cut all that? Can we just
we can cut
take
that.
all that out, please? I don't even remember what the cut was.
That'll be a YouTube only portion there.
So I did watch some of their Las Vegas match. I also watched some of the match before that against Colorado Springs. A very quick side tangent. The Colorado Springs player that also got thrown out of that match, if I'm the Colorado Springs coach, that man is off the team, because that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's obvious that the San Antonio player is going to get a red card, and this guy comes in out of nowhere. I get it. He's protecting a teammate. I'm all for that. But he shoves the dude in the face and is obviously going to get a red card himself. You just threw away a one-man advantage for a whole second half because you were a dumbass and came rushing in, and that kind of stuff just pisses me off. So if I was there, if I was Burke from Colorado Springs, he would not be playing for me for a while, even after the suspension is over, because that was one of the most boneheaded things I've ever seen. They should have won that match had he not done that. But anyways, San Antonio is a team that I would have on the panic meter with us there. Um, they're a team that I think they thought, anyways, that they were a championship contender. I think other people around the league thought the same thing. And 3 consecutive 1-1 draws doesn't look great when you're talking about Colorado Springs, Vegas, who we just mentioned. Los Dos beat 5-0. Phoenix beat them 5-1, I think it was, and had like 20 some shots. So that's not a good look. So they are kind of in limbo as well. And I think we're catching them at the right time, coming to New Mexico on a short week when they haven't been up to the standards that I think they probably think they should be at. So I haven't been impressed with these last 2 matches anyways. I know I watched part of their first match against Colorado Springs, the opening match of the season, a 3-0 beatdown of Colorado Springs, which I was like, oh shoot, San Antonio's here to play this year, and they've kind of gone the other way since then. So we'll have to see, but I would have loved to have had Harry here to see, what his thoughts were and what his mindset was after 7 matches I think they've played as well, and only sitting on 10 points. That's, I think, if you were to ask him, that wouldn't be good enough either. So, but alas, we won't have him for a little while. So I'll have to get his thoughts later in the season when apparently we've had enough time to actually react to things and not overreact. Jackasses. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You mentioned size that they have. I know Peruzzi. I think it's Peruzzi. I might be getting him mixed up with a hockey player. Hold on, real quick. He came in late in that Las Vegas match, and he's just a massive dude. Peruzza. But he's actually a forward, and he's huge. So that's going to be interesting.
Earl, have you had a chance to watch San Antonio?
Yeah, he mentioned his favorite players.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. See, I thought I was talking about San Antonio. Turns out I was talking about Sacramento. There's only one name on San Antonio that I recognize, and Sam Gleadle.
Gleadle.
Yeah, the return of Sam Gleadle.
But I really have not paid attention to San Antonio at all.
See, Earl has a life, and so he doesn't watch soccer like we do because he's a social butterfly and is the talk of the town of Moriarty. He's kind of a big
There's
deal.
like There's like 4 people in Moriarty, and I'm one of them. So everybody knows everybody here, and it just happens. And really, I haven't, because I've been dealing with all this family crap.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just been one thing after another with us. But no, so Sam Gleadle is the one I know, and Justin Dillon. Both of them are not any kind of threat because they both have 0 goals.
Justin Dillon has one.
really see anyone. Does Justin Dillon have 1?
Yep.
I thought I saw 0, but 1 goal in 8 games.
You were probably looking at assists or some other column. Maybe some other player. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe he should hit the panic button like Jacob has already done.
I'm not hitting the panic button. Cups. All I'm saying is that the little cover over the panic button, I'm touching it. I don't have it flipped up, but I'm touching it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I watched San Antonio, and they've got a lot of talented guys. They've got some. I know they've been signing a lot of talent in, and yeah, I mean, without Patino, they obviously struggled last week, and they're gonna need, like I said, Dylan or Nathan or one of their other forwards to step up. I don't know who else really they have. I mean, maybe Marcus Epps is going to be a threat, but
Epps played like crap against Vegas. He every time he shot the ball, it went closer to the moon than the goal. Um, I don't know what his deal was. I'll give him that he had some solid chances. Like he found himself in some good spots, and then he would unleash a shot that would just go straight to the moon. And so I don't know what to expect from him next time.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, like you said, I would have loved to have had Harry on this week to get his take on what's going on with San Antonio right now. I do know that they are not the most sound club defensively. They have allowed 8 goals so far this season, and so they're open to scoring, or to being scored upon. And then, so I think if we can create some quality chances, then it's going to turn out pretty well in our favor. And looking at their attacking stats, they do have 11 goals. Again, 5 are from Patino, but he won't be there. And every single one of their goals has come from inside the box. So they don't appear to be a club that's gonna throw one in from range. They're gonna try to work it into the box. They're gonna try to score that way. At least when Patino's in there, how they adapt and adjust with him not in the lineup, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it should be a good match. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to this one. So, all right, guys.
I will say that I'm excited for a midweek match. I love midweek matches because it's like, oh, you mean I don't have to wait 3 more days for a United match? Like it's tomorrow? Like, oh, sign me up all day. And then one thing about San Antonio, I freaking love San Antonio's kits.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 of the nicest kits I think out there. And don't get me wrong, I love ours too, but um, they have 3 drastically different looking kits, and all 3 of them are really really nice in my opinion.
So I'm actually glad you brought that up because I did not like the United keeper kit this past weekend.
Because of the shorts?
Yeah, I mean, if they would have had something to go and actually match with the kit.
I'm right there with you. Like, I loved the idea behind the Pride kits and everything, and the tops were nice. But when you throw them over black shorts or the keeper kit shorts, like, just go the extra step and make some shorts for tomorrow or for that match too, instead of just the tops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a fan of the kit. I mean, not necessarily the unmatched shorts, but the kits are fantastic. And
I think that's all Earl had a problem with too.
no,
To be fair,
I know. So yeah. All right. So predictions, scoreline predictions, match predictions. What do you guys think is going to happen?
2-0.
Okay.
Us, obviously.
I should have went first because that's what I was going to say too. We'll go 1-0.
2-0 on ours. So you guys both think we're going to get a 3rd consecutive clean sheet?
Yeah, I think Tambakis is really good, and
I couldn't tell.
and coming off 2 consecutive clean sheets, and we mentioned San Antonio has 11 goals, but 5 of them are from a player that's not there. I think our defense has really started to gel back there. Granted, they didn't get much of a test against Austin, so we'll have to see how they look this week. Hopefully, it's not just San Antonio parking the bus and us struggling to score again type night. But no, I think if I'm going with my heart, it says 2-0. But for the sake of not copying Earl, I'll short us 1 and say just 1-0, and that Tambakis and the defensive back line gets the job done.
Yeah, because we all know Earl doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, to be fair, Earl has one guess right, and we do not have any. So um, maybe I should just copy Earl and go 2-0.
All right, good guesses, good guesses. I get the reasoning. I understand the reasoning, and it could absolutely happen. I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm gonna go 2-1. It's not.
I thought you were going to predict a draw or a loss, and I was going to be so mad at you for giving me shit about freaking out about how we're playing at home, and then you predict that we don't win at home. I was going to be so mad. But okay, 2-1.
Yeah, I think
I like
2-1.
that.
I have faith in Alex, and I don't think it's gonna be on Alex. That's something's gonna happen. I think someone's gonna be unmarked or whatever, and it's just gonna be something that Alex isn't gonna have an opportunity to save. So that's what I think is going to happen. San Antonio's got some big guys, they got some size, and if they get into the box, it could be a real golden goal scoring opportunity for them. So,
fuck it, guys. 3-0. I'm changing my mind. I don't like going under Earl's prediction, so I'm going to say 3-0.
So Seth, you just said golden goal. Was that like a shameless plug for the new beer that was put out there?
no, I didn't even think about that. No, it was just a golden goal opportunity, a good opportunity for them to score a goal. So that's all that was, not a plug for any sort of beer. So
I'll plug it. Ex Novo came out with a United themed beer called Golden, and I haven't tried it, but I really want to.
it looks good.
I haven't. I almost jumped on the bandwagon and got it, but then I looked at my fridge and it's full of beer. So it's like, shit, I can't buy it yet. I have to drink a lot of beer to get to that point. I have tried their coffee though.
You have? How was it?
I freaking love it.
Good. So tell me this: do you have to go to Ex Novo to get the beer, or do they sell it in stores there?
They sell it at wherever Ex Novo beers are sold. So in my case, would be right next door to my office, Blackie's.
I need to find a place where Ex Novo beers are sold then, because I can't go to Corrales. I don't have time to go to Corrales to get a beer, even though I really want to.
I don't know if they can ship can like that, but I do know like here in Moriarty, I think they have it at Blackie's. I will have to check and look, and I don't know how we got on the topic of beer. And Jacob, I hope that fixes your eyeball. Maybe that's how you put your eye on in the first place, playing with that stupid shit.
No, I didn't have this. So the real story behind my eye was I have these little fatty cysts on my face and my head, and there was one right here by my eye, and it got a head on it, so I popped it. That was on Wednesday of not last week, but the week before. Well, somehow between Wednesday and Saturday, it got infected, and I woke up Saturday with an infection in there. And you guys saw pictures of my eye just like completely swollen shut and had a big old bump on this side, like the size of a golf ball.
He looked like he took more punches than Mayweather did. Wait, he did.
So yeah, that's what happened there. But so, any final thoughts, guys?
It's not time to hit the panic button.
And I'm not. I'm just acknowledging that the panic button is there.
And I don't even think it's time to acknowledge the panic button. I think it's not. It's too early in the season. It's too fresh of a season, and Jacob is batshit crazy. So my final thought is,
no, I'm not.
We have a season. We're about a quarter of the way in. It's really nice. I love it. There's a lot of sports going on in my life, so it's kind of cool. Do what you can. Stay safe. Jacob, it's all you now, yes.
All right. I'm gonna take 20 minutes here and explain again why I'm just kidding.
I can't wait.
I'm not.
I can't freaking wait.
Guys, I do have to edit this and get this out in the morning.
That's true. I'm not going to do that. I will say that I am very much looking forward to midweek United soccer. Gives me something to look forward to on hump day. And hopefully we can come away with 3 points against a San Antonio squad that is literally right behind us in the table. So again, guys, we're here every Tuesday night, 9:30. we're supposed to talk United and then talk other sports afterwards, but United is just kind of a big deal right now for us, and we haven't found a way to shut up about them early enough to do another podcast afterwards. So maybe we'll start that again, or maybe it's just United and that's it. We'll see. Who knows? We just like to go with the flow. We don't like to have a structured. This is what we're going to talk about for 5 minutes, and then this is what we're going to talk about for 5 minutes. It's not how we work. Obviously, by our tangents and how we were quote going to keep this one short, and then talked for 30 minutes on a panic button that doesn't exist yet. Uh, so bottom line, we're here at 9:30 till whenever, talking United, maybe talking some other stuff.
34.
What?
I said 9:34 because you're never on time and you know it.
I was here before 9:30, you son of a bitch. Anyways, 9:30-ish, we're here on YouTube, and then you can always catch the podcast. In this case, it'll be tomorrow because we have a preview for tomorrow night's match. So, in most cases, it's Thursday, and we love to hear back from you. We love to hear from you during the YouTube broadcast. You guys just pop in, say hi, tell me that I'm crazy for panicking, but more than likely you're going to come on here and tell them that they're crazy for at least not acknowledging that there's something there. But neither here
We've
nor
never
there.
had anyone agree with you
Nope.
ever.
Bullshit. Everybody agrees with me. Nobody does what you're talking about half the time, Tucker Bone.
Will you? Will
Yeah,
you keep
yeah, that's
this
what I
short? I thought we were keeping this short.
You keep interrupting me, so I don't know what to tell you.
You're like a Catholic priest giving a homily right now.
Down on your knees, back up. Down on your knees, back
Ev-
up.
Everyone's already asleep.
Say 27 Hail Marys. And yeah, so social media, Somos Mas NM. Email us, Earl, Seth, Jacob at somosmasnm.com. Other than that, guys, next week, 9:30-ish, be here on YouTube. Talk to us. Let us know what you think. Rate and review the podcast on whatever you listen to. And until next time, guys, Somos Unidos. Oh, fuck Phoenix. Sorry.